Right now, Zealots are up 1-0, and we're getting ready for our next battleground. Where are we going? It's going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen as Team Liquid elects to go with first pick.
And Team Liquid needs... it's such a weird scenario. We've been talking about Dignitas losing Fnatic, and the immediate echo was, yes, of course, we still have experts going up against the good guys. We have Team Liquid against the Zealots, but let's be realistic here. This is should be pretty clear games. And now all of a sudden we are looking at this. Liquid has been all over the place the entire phase too. And I just don't know what to expect here at this point. Yeah. It seems they lack the consistency. And they have to be looking at that game now themselves and have been saying like, okay guys, how are you dealing with this? We talked about Tricked Esports earlier, how they 3-0'd Liquid, and Liquid said, we didn't really underestimate them, but they played better than we expected. We made mistakes we shouldn't have made, but we're still completely fine. And now we have to question, is that really true? Are they fine? They just lost to Zealots. Zealots haven't taken a single map since their first game they played in HGC. Not one map. And now they're leading against Liquid. If this is going to be another victory for Zealots and they take a 2-0 lead, that would be a nightmare for Team Liquid.
I would start to be worried with a 2-0. With a 1-0, I'm okay. I'm not ready to jump the Team Liquid ship. We've seen even Fnatic go down 1-0 down to the good guys earlier. So there's still a chance there. But definitely, your point of Team Liquid needs to pull it together is very important going into game number 2. This is a team that we expect to do well against. Now, let's go ahead, take a breather here, get ready for Tomb of the Spider Queen as Team Liquid will have the first ban of the game.
I'm still a bit worried, but you're right. As long as they only lose the first match, fine for them. For the Zealots, this is, of course, a fantastic start into the series. They struggled in the previous games. As we said, they haven't won a map in their last 3 matches. Granted, it was against strong teams, against Dignitas, Fnatic, and Experts. But this is, again, Team Liquid, and everyone was talking about how Liquid is starting to get into their flow again. They picked up a new coach, they have now Zeus helping them, and he's one where they highlighted that, especially when it comes to their motivation and their mindset, that he has a huge impact on how they feel about themselves as a team and how they approach games. That has been showcased in some of the matches they played, but right now, this is rough. So Liquid has to come out swinging here. They banned Tassadar, so that denies a lot of vision on the map, on the battleground, and we have on top of that a bit of a soft ban against quite a few of the double support compositions that the Zealots could play.
Also taking away that Tassadar from Shad, who can be a forceful god. Still making it work there, even though I thought they were missing out on some damage. So Shad no longer getting that Tassadar. Stitches will be the hover for the Zealots, so thinking about getting rid of him. However, they did hover Anubarak first. I actually wouldn't mind the Anubarak ban and them taking away the Stitches, because we've seen Mopsio do pretty well on that character.
Yeah. If they go for a ban on the Stitches, they could... the thing is, it seems like they would like to play Stitches. I would still expect to maybe see an early Genji or the Uther ban again. They're 2 of the highest picked heroes for a reason. Even the Anubarak that you just pointed out can allow so much. If you get an early pick for a hero that can break down the cocoon fairly quickly, then you are still in a decent spot against him. But for the Zealots, they decide to take the Stitches away. And we've been hearing so much about Stitches. We had a video with a quick interview giving the players an opportunity to talk about why they think he has such a massive impact. And he's a really all-rounded hero, but it's just the hooks that you are afraid of. He can turn a game within the blink of an eye, and that is something that the Zealots are currently trying to prevent.
Yeah, Stitches has been slotted into a stable core. Even the hooks that you mentioned, while they're great for playmaking, he also just has a great build, the slam build. You have so many type of heroes that can really get an advantage out of him, bringing that slam out, slowing down opposing members. You can get executioner-based comps. You can get Lunara with the level 13, where she gets unfair advantage. Things become available with that Stitches. So Zealots decided to go ahead and take him out of the game here. Anubarak will be the first pick for Team Liquid. This is what I'm afraid of. If you get rid of that Stitches, obviously Anubarak is going to get picked up ASAP.
Insta-picks on Malthael and Oriel. Insta-pick. Didn't even think about it twice. That allows Genji to be taken, it allows Uther to be taken. You have to either pick the Uther or you have to ban him out if you are Team Liquid. You cannot allow the Zealots to go into Oriel and Uther. But Malthael having such a high priority here. We've been talking about him as a solo laner and about this just menace once he has level 16 available, what he can do in a big team fight. So he is strong here, and we have seen other teams pick him up, but the priority is what really stands out to me.
Yeah, him being first pick, well, first rotation here for the Zealots is a big indicator that they believe in his strength, especially on this battleground. We haven't seen the Zealots or any team pick up Malthael this early since his latest changes in the last patch. So Obviously, something is here for the Zealots, especially with them going over Uther, who we've mentioned every single time we get the chance that Uther is always participating in our ban phases. So Team Liquid thinking about it, kind of wondering for a second here, wait a minute, they got Malthael and Ariel? They left us Uther and Genji? What's up? They go for Uther and Greymane.
You can still ban the Genji out. Uther was a safe pick here for them for sure. The big advantage that Greymane has over Genji is, of course, his wave clear that he can use, and also he's better on the burst damage against the target.
And
so if they are trying to get stuns locked down with, or stun chains with Uther and Nubarak, maybe after Cocoon to isolate a target, then Greymane works better to burst the target down quickly with a Cursed Bullet and then simply moving in with your combo. But that is most likely going to be, or it could be a ban against Genji here for sure.
I am wondering if Zealots intend to run with only one support here with that Chromie ban. Obviously, Ariel has a hard time by herself if she's getting out-poked. With Greymane poke and Chromie potential poke, Ariel could fall apart if the Zealots intend not to move into a different support. So Team Liquid, thinking about their ban here, what would they get rid of here? Lunara is always a decent choice, especially if you're wanting to run multiple melees. They could be thinking about that hyper carry that'll come in for Ariel.
They could run it solo. I personally like to have a double support with this because I think, and this is something that Liquid is also afraid of, and they attempt to shut it down with the Rhaegar ban. Okay, it's party time. They just picked a Cho'gall against an Nubarak with Cocoon and a Greymane with a Cursed Bullet.
Yeah, they're feeling pretty confident here. They have something planned out, and they think they have it all figured out with Cho'gall and Ariel. Now, we've mentioned Cho'gall and Ariel in the past, but let's go ahead and recap here for our viewers at home. Ariel can be very strong with Cho'gall. Gall is a great battery, constantly doing poke, giving you a tons of hope. You have possibilities to go into Empathic Link, and you can bring out a massive amount of healing for your team.
They're completely committing suicide here, aren't they?
Against Cursed Bullet into Cocoon? Possible. Maybe they feel that Malthael by himself can survive long enough for Gall to come out. You could also drop down your mark on top of the Cocoon if it does pop out and jump away from the fight.
There's Tychus still around that you could pick.
There's Leoric
There's
too.
Leoric around that you could pick. Normally when we see Cho'gall being picked, it's on the last two spots, which they of course don't have here, since they don't have first pick. But there's the Tychus, there's the Leoric. That is insane. That is absolutely insane to pick a Cho'gall on those positions with both of the heroes that we just pointed out, and they were immediately taken to be picked. That is just suicide.
And before Medivh, for force of will and to run away from all these fights.
I mean, even with Medivh,
Zealots got something planned, man. Remember, they're up 1-0, hoping to come out in Tomb of Spider Queen. Even against all the strength that Team Liquid has set up for them.
I'm really interested into this now. The players on Zealots have been around for a long time. These guys aren't stupid. They know what can be played here. So they have the Medivh, as we expected. But still, they know exactly that Tychus was still open. They know that Leoric is still open. They know about the strengths. They know there's a Cursed Bullet already. But if you have a draft that you want to play against Cho'gall, it's what you see on the side of Team Liquid now. You get with every single one of your abilities that you have, you get a 2-for-1. It's like, it's the Walmart comp. Cocoon against the Cho'gall, you get the 2-for-1 value. The only other thing that you could use here is a Gorge maybe, but
Kaldor.
If I see that from a team that is completely new or that is maybe participating in the open division, then I might understand it. Right now, I'm looking at this and I'm saying this is just nuts.
You were asking to be more Special Snowflake last game.
Hey, I like it. Don't get it's fun. I just don't know how they're going to win. I would have gone for other bans if you want to do that.
It's Special Snowball time now, man. We're going to see if somehow, some way, Zealots with Cho'gall, Medivh, Ariel, and Malthael can be destructive. Now, we've seen this in the past from Expert almost a year ago, where they ran the same composition, but their fifth, they actually had a damage dealer instead. I believe they had Volo.
Yeah, but not against that.
Yeah, I know, man. We understand. They're going against a hard wall here, but you know what? Zealots are believing in this. They got guts, and I'm ready for it. Like, straight up. Like, I'm all on board. I don't care, man. Portals to get out of the entombs here, get away from the drone homes, the force of will for when the Cursed Bullet comes out. It's going to have to be timing perfect, but it's possible.
I'm actually just concerned. Someone please call their drafter and ask him if he had a stroke.
They need a coach. All right, guys, go ahead and get ready for game number 2. Tomb of Spider Queen, the Cho'gall train coming against the Pain train here as Team Liquid is set up to stop the Giant.
Well, it's time for trouble and make it double because we have a Cho'gall on the side of Zealots in game number 2. Disregarding of the potential counters against him, Zealots picked him with Mopsy on Cho and Poik on Gull. We have Grand Paquette on Oriel, Zarmany on Malthael, and Shat on Medivh for the Zealots, starting to the left.
How are we going to say that? Zemoik for that Cho'gall? Zamoko? All right, let's go and go to the right here. We'll figure it out as Team Liquid in the red has Hasuovs on Greymane, Nurok on Tychus, Lumby playing a Nubarak, Darkmok on Leoric, and Splendor playing Uther.
I am heavily confused by this Cho'gall pick. Not necessarily that you would pick... It's the best Cho'gall map, hands down. This is the best Cho'gall map. Cho'gall is fantastic here. So there's short rotations, you have no problems just moving from lane to lane, so it's very hard to really outplay him in that sense and play around him. So you can get value here. Cho'gall is a hero that teams have been experimenting with. We've seen Expert in the past, in previous patches and metas use him. But picking him into an Anubarak who gets a 2-for-1 value out of the Cocoon, into the Cursed Bullet on the side of Greymane, and leaving in a position where your opponent can still pick the Tychus and Leoric, who both have not been banned, seems to be asking for a loss.
They have to have a perfect early game, obviously, here. Tychus is going to be shutting them down as well as Leoric, building in the Drain Hope build, really allowing him to burn down the percentage of their health. But if they do get to late game, 13-16, on somewhat of an even footing, you have Cho'gall power spike in late game, and you have Malthael. There is the possibility for them to have a solid game.
This is definitely... If you think about it, again, these players have been around since Alpha, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. So them picking this, it's not that that they lose the game, we interview them later and they just simply tell us, oh yeah, we didn't expect them to pick Tychus and Leoric.
Right.
They know that. So yeah, tweet at us, what do you think about this comp? Because I don't really know, they must have the confidence going into this draft against what Liquid has. It's the dream draft against Cho'gall. I am so hyped to see what they can do with it. But I just don't see Team Liquid lose here.
Well, for now, Zealots are hanging in there. Cho'gall and Oriel are playing as safe as they can, sitting on the backside, dropping in the Runic Bombs to make sure they blow out the wave and then back away. But the problem with them playing passively is that Team Liquid will get to a point where they can drop off their turn-in and get the Web Weavers. And that's how you get that early game advantage that you need to just shut down a Cho'gall comp before they get to that late game and be on even footing.
Yeah, and of course what Liquid is now going to do, we have the bigger they are coming in on Tychus on level 4. Later on 16, Alpha Killer for Greymane is going to be a fantastic talent for them as well. Leoric is focusing a bit more onto his Drain Hope build, which you can expect here for sure. So definitely a high focus into percentage damage, since they are going to focus Cho'gall in a lot of these fights. So Medivh has to keep him safe, Oriel as well. We have seen even Resurrect in the past with Cho'gall comps, but Aegis is a bit more likely. You still have the option going to both. But yeah, let's see how this is going to work out here. An early snowball would be great for the Zealots, but you can already see the pressure. After level 4 has hit, Nurok is just moving into the fight against Cho'gall whenever he can on his Tychus and drops the bigger they are.
Yeah, they got him down to half health, not with an Oriel healing him, with the Hope coming in, as well as 2 Force of Wills occurring. So Nurok, again, showing the strength of Tychus against that Cho'gall. Zarmany in the buddy lane did have some pressure coming his way. Will lose out on a turret, but saves his life for the moment. Keep up with the clear here. And Team Liquid is getting into a spot where they have a decent amount of gems. They still have 27 available for them and can start going for turn-ins as they are doing so in the bottom. But Shad, for the time being, will keep an eye on them and try to delay.
And also, when we talk about Cho'gall, it's mobility that they're focusing on. A lot of the talents with Gal, they're having Taskmaster taken as the level 1, so that you have the cooldown reduction on Shove by 10 seconds. And you just have a bit more mobility in the hero. Down here now to the bot lane, big problem also that Zarmany has fallen, a few gems have been lost by this, and it was a good pickup for Team Liquid. They're not only focusing on Cho'gall, it's of course the primary target in a lot of these fights later, but they still want to make sure that they're threatening the rest of the team as well, and they've done well so far.
Yeah, they got a kill on Malthael, made him lose out on a decent amount of gems too, which is actually pretty painful for him.
Also, Royal Foco is played on Leoric, so it's again about the wave clear. Leoric alone is going to be able... He might even go into Lingering Apparition, just making sure that he has the wave clear in 2 lanes, which would enable the rest of Team Liquid to really focus on specific lanes here. But from a wave clear aspect, that's actually a fantastic talent for him to take now.
Yeah, you're right. Completely clearing out the waves, and that allows the 4-man of Team Liquid to keep an eye on that Cho'gall and chase him around. If they ever have to abandon a wave because Cho'gall is doing something threateningly somewhere on the battleground, you can have Leoric go in and clear it out. When Cho'gall is in the game, He literally takes over the entire battleground in terms of, okay, how do we handle him? What's he doing right now? Can we get the kill on Cho'gall? He is a true raid boss.
Yeah, they go into paralyzing rage though in level 7, so they just want to have additional slows and CC against Cho'gall in particular. And we're seeing on the side of Mopsio, by the way, on Cho currently, a focus into consuming blaze. So consuming fire on level 1 and then on 7 going straight into the fire starter here. So a lot of cooldown reduction also coming into play. We talked about the Taskmaster already a little bit. But besides that, we're seeing the bombs away for Gal as the level 4 talent and double trouble for level 7. But yeah, how much trouble is Cho'gall really going to be here? The 10s, that's when the value really starts to kick in with the Cursed Bullet and the Cocoon. And I cannot wait to see how the Zealots are trying to win this. It's a fascinating draft for sure.
I like the build though. Typically you see a lot of Surging Fist builds just to get a lot of punches, jumping into the fights, get the cooldown reduction, of course a lot of fights. But the build here is great because they have sustain. They have Aerial Burst Heal and you have Force of Will. If you can get off a couple of Consuming Blazes, get a target killed on Team Liquid, you can chase them down and force the fights with Aerial constantly chasing you. So I like this build, but it does require you to get a kill or two and also to sit in the middle of Team Liquid, which is a dangerous task.
Yeah, Hazovs is being chased here already. Shed helping out with portals, and Hazo is most likely going to fall. Barely gets away after a quick heal, and we saw the stuns coming out from Bloomby helping out. Darkmog might die, but even if he does, gets the heal and survives. But even if he falls here, they could have recovered the gems, and on Leoric, you're at least back on the battlefield in just a few seconds.
The Zealots will lose out on some turrets and half the health on their fort in the middle, and they are behind about a good level almost, as Team Liquid's 9.5, and they're about 8 3/4. But they do defend the web weaver push that comes their way, and they have their own turn-in available with 42 gems floating around. They can either do it now, try to force before 10 hits, or just try to weather the storm and get to 10 themselves.
Yeah, so at this point we're having a level 10 nearly for Liquid, and again, as I said before, this is when we are really going to find out a lot about the composition that Zealots is running. Do they really have a chance against all these heroes that can now target Cho'gall in these fights? Greymane, don't hold back your ult. Don't you even dare. We know exactly what you're going to take. Yeah, there we have it. Cursed Bullet coming in, Cocoon also being picked, and Leoric, of course, heading straight into the Entomb.
9.5 here for Zealots. Team Liquid does have the turn in, and they will get it. Zealots answering back with their own mercenaries here. Blumby goes in for a hard engage, but not quite close enough to actually interrupt the mercenaries being picked up. And the Zealots will lose out on a fort, but they are trying to get 10 themselves.
Yep, they don't have the heroic ability, so they need to wait a bit longer. We are also seeing, of course, a lot of quest talents still being worked on, especially the Master's Touch, which currently has 11 stacks. Second turn-in for Team Liquid, so they are actually the team that gains momentum. Now, Cho'gall is usually stronger in the late game. That's really where he comes online, and he has a lot of survivability tools as well that he will have to use around all the cooldowns that Team Liquid is going to try and drop on him. One of the issues is really that if you get a good engage with the Nubarak cocooning Cho'gall, then you have a 5 versus 3 for the duration, and that's what I'm most afraid of.
Twisting Nether being picked up here. We're going to have a full engage here from the Cho'gall. He moves in, and he's going to get low on health. Now, Cocoon came out and stopped Ariel from using the Ages. Leyline and Sylvie popped out as well, so Zarmi's going to try and force a fight, but he has to be careful. The Ages being popped, with it being a 5v3, Zarmi should just try to retreat.
An easy kill against Cho'gall here, so they decided to go for the Cocoon on Oriel instead of cocooning Cho'gall. Worked out perfectly. They have all the damage yet, and what we said, Cocoon comes in. You have just so many tools to deal with this right now, and Team Liquid is absolutely running down that advantage. They have a 3-level lead already.
Fearful, very scary moment here for Cho'gall and the rest of the Zealots here, as they're going to have to work on getting to 13 and 16 themselves with being a talent tier behind, trying to force fights and maybe get some picks, but getting those picks will be quite difficult. Now, there is still 5 more levels, and Zarmini, of course, comes online with that Malthea, which could be scary enough. But will they still have Keep standing at that point?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Also, you are 2 levels behind already. You haven't gotten a kill yet, and you are in a spot where you can barely turn in, but I'm waiting for that aha moment. I'm waiting for the moment where I look at a team fight where the Zealots are completely crushing what Team Liquid has, and I'm looking like, oh my god, that's what they're trying to do. Now I get it. But so far, I haven't seen it yet, and I don't see it coming. So everything that we said during the draft about the dangers that the draft with Cho'gall against Team Liquid fares, that has come true. If there wasn't a Tychus and a Greymane on the other side, I could see that draft being so much more successful here. But I just don't see it yet. So I'm really waiting for that aha moment. As we see down to the bot lane, an attempt by the Zealots to turn in, a bit of an interrupt happening by Anuburak, but Shed eventually should be able to complete the turn for them.
Yeah, they eventually do get the turn in there as Blumby fell low on health. They do want to walk out of this fight here and try to clear out while the Web Weavers defend the middle and the bottom lane. They do have a giant boss pushing top, so Zealots will have to head up there and deal with that at some point, as losing a keep would not be very well advised here.
Yeah, we have now, I guess in the late game, there's a lot of heroes that really thrive in this situation. Cho'gall, as I said, gets stronger in the late game. He has way more tools that give him survivability. We have also Malthael with Memento Mori on 16 being incredibly strong. Maybe one of the ideas here is to just reach farther into the game to get those power spikes. But I still think that Liquid has a lot to play around them.
Yeah, they have their own power spikes. You mentioned it earlier. Alpha Killer at 16.
Exactly.
Tychus is already great going into the late game. Blumby has the ability to dive into a fight. In fact, look at Cho'gall now taking damage here. The portals will be helpful, but Zealots, again, just kind of keep getting battered around.
Also, this is not necessarily the map where you think that you can easily reach the late game. This is one of those maps where oftentimes the snowball is happening. And we have seen that in the past, that teams were trying to use, for example, in a Zebo and go into a late game on the map on Tomb. And we have seen it even with Asmodan, when we have the Taste for Blood build just be the absolute dominant build, and Asmodan even banned out on the map. So that happened a few times. But right now, with how aggressive teams are playing these days, not sure if that happens. Here comes the Cocoon again. They're going in. Tormented Souls already dropped. Cocoon about to pop. Leyline Seal has been used. And we have an attack against Team Liquid as Darkmog is getting really low here. Nearly dropped. And this time, no kill for Team Liquid as they were forcing the fight. But this time the Zealots reacting a lot better to the Cocoon and to that approach.
Better control, though, of the Cocoon that did come out. You mentioned it there, the Tormented Souls as well as the Twisting Netherlands. The Aegis does get popped here. We're going to have Cho'gall diving forward here, looking at Nurok. Force of Will is used. Blumby getting low. Is he low enough, though? Malthael working the damage, and finally, Blumby's able to turn around. He's still alive, but finally he gets picked off. And Cho'gall looking to dive in here, dropping the Consuming Blaze, getting healed up.
Malthael still dead, though, and now Poik is in even more trouble. Once again, they go in, they take Cho'gall down, and they continue with Medivh. Grand Paquette, the only one juking and diving through the portals, but there is no escape. You can dive all day long, but you are going to fall. Every single gem they were holding still at that point, weren't too many, but every gem they still held is now down, and we are seeing Team Liquid breaking through the wall, and they hold the gem count to get another Web Weaver wave, which would be Web Weaver wave number 3.
Web Weaver number 3 could be good for them to push in those keeps. That is still the good news for the Zealots as they're still in the game. They're behind a talent level, they're behind 3 levels as well. And they're not looking too good in team fights. That was probably their best team fight they had. You can kind of get an idea of what they're going for. They're trying to kill the Anuburak and then go for a fight with Force of Will coming in and them using the Consuming Blaze. However, didn't work out for them, and they're now in a spot where they have to deal with 3 Web Weavers pushing in their lanes.
Yeah, and also the level 13 talent alone was already strong for Leoric, since with that he gets extra damage against the opponent. Once he has Spectral, you can't win this game. There's absolutely no way. At this point, we have not even Alpha Killer taken, actually. Instead, what we're seeing is Executioner. With all the slows that you have, and also, of course, the Paralyzing Rage providing another CC, Executioner is also fantastic here. But later on, we were going to see the Spectral Leech, more percentage damage. It's just too much. How do you handle that? The fight over here, Divine Shield had to be used against Greymane. Zarmony is also trying to dive in, and Blumby is still low. Nurok even dropping in hit points and jumping back out.
They need to get back, though. Top lane and bottom lane right now are in trouble from the Web Weavers coming in. Team Liquid did force that fight, but all they were trying to do was delay their opponents, and they do so long enough here. Both the Web Weavers get straight onto the keeps. Go ahead and sacrifice the top one. You know you're going to lose that one no matter what here, and defend at least the bottom. They will do so, but they don't have Medivh, and Team Liquid comes in with Odin. They're going to knock on this front door.
Yeah, they could try and entomb. They don't have the entomb just yet, but if they entomb Cho'gall, That damage alone that we're seeing here with the Drain Hope, it always forces Medivh to get his shields out. And I will say one thing about the comp that we have for the Zealots. With Medivh, Cho'gall as the main focus of Team Liquid in most fights is really difficult to kill, thanks to all the shields. That's definitely true. And 16 with reabsorption, which also really helped the Zealots here.
That's a really good point. Getting that reabsorption at 16 will be so helpful, but they're still a level away from doing so. They're about to hit level 15. They're chasing their opponents, and they're actually doing pretty well in team fights. Like, they're not getting blown up right away. Eventually, they do get taken out, but Darkmok is on the side here. Also drucking away with the Drain Hope. Should be able to Wraith Walk away if need be, but they have lost a keep in the top. So Zealots, they're hurting.
Yeah, and let's not forget, we're talking 1 kill against 8 and 1 keep destroyed, the second one down to the last few hit points against not a single fort eliminated. So there comes the Cocoon against Medivh. They're switching their strategy a little bit. Gets taken out. They might lose Darkmok. He falls.
Leoric?
They recover the gems. Could move away here. 16 would be a good talent for the Zealots, as I said before. That would really do a whole lot for them. Poik still kept alive here, or Cho'gall kept alive, despite all the damage that comes out. And Shad is doing whatever he can with his tools. Blumby needs to use the stuns to allow the rest of his teammates to escape and is able to bring them back to safety.
They need to leave now. Darkmok is about to come back. With the Drain Hub being available at level 16, they will drop the portals and try to mount up. Grandpa in trouble. Entomb is available when Leoric comes out. They need to get away from this fight now. They're trying to. Tamer Strike comes out, but Darkmok steps forward with the Wraith Walk, and he'll get Grandpa.
Yeah, goes for Grandpa. Shield is out. Stuns are coming in. Aegis being used, but this is going to be, it should be the end of Auriel. Grandpa is still alive. Gets another heal out. Leoric falls. They're turning it around. They are about to kill Bloomby. What just happened?
Zealots, you're not supposed to be winning these team fights, but they do. They hit 16 as well. They're chasing forward. Splendor will pop the Benediction here, hoping to turn around for a stun if anyone dives in too far. Now, there are catapults currently on the core. They're starting to break through the shield, but the Zealots, they don't seem to mind as they're starting to win these team fights.
Okay, so now we are at more towards the late game. That's what I said about earlier, that I can see how in the late game they can have a bit of a better stand against what Liquid has. 20 is going to bring a lot of talents that Liquid can utilize with the Spectral Leech, but still, this was I think the biggest problem here was really the choke point. With all the damage that comes out of Cho'gall here in that choke point, whatever ability he drops in is guaranteed to hit several targets. Liquid was a bit too greedy for the kill here.
Blumby and both Leoric dying there. Gonna go ahead and have a turn in. A few of the gems dropped off for the Zealots, but nothing too crazy here, as they've died so much here that they've only had 1 turn in throughout the entire game, but now they can start farming out, as they are on similar talent tiers to their opponents. And Team Liquid right now only has 20 gems themselves. As long as Shad keeps an eye on them, Zealots still have a chance. They're going to have a really hard, rough road here as to deal with the catapults in the top, but them saving that keep in the bottom allows for them to control this middle to bottom lane.
Surging Dash on 16 is another tool that Cho now has to keep them alive here, making them first of all unstoppable and also getting a bit of additional heal. Then you have the reabsorption on 16, which also helps, and you have the silence with a deafening blast. So there's definitely a lot more tools now for Zealots, and Liquid needs to be very aware of one thing. If they go into a choke point fight like they just did, they have a very small chance of winning this, because there is just way too much damage that Gall can push out in these fights when he has more or less a guarantee that is going to hit everybody in his path. We so far have Gall on 60,000 hero damage, and we still see Nurok on 60,000 himself on the side of Tychus, of course. But this is definitely now one of these fights where, as Team Liquid, you have to be a bit careful, especially until we hit 20, and then you have another big tool. Talking about 20, Leoric is not only getting experience at the bot lane. As we see Zealots moving in, Leoric is going to drop a second keep.
He walks forward with that Royal Focus, brings up the auto attack into the cleave there, and will get that keep taken out. So Team Liquid with 2 keeps down at the top and the bottom of their opponents, and 20 right around the corner here, are putting their opponents in a pinch. Zealots, now aware that they have to do something, make a play for the boss.
That damage. Alright, so the boss play, they try to sneak it in. They have actually a good race against the boss, but the 20 is going to be there soon. Spectral Leech for Leoric is already going to help a lot while still being attacked, but the core is going to fall soon against catapults. I mean, we're not there yet, but it's definitely going to happen eventually as they're fighting over here. Time works in favor of Liquid. They have that 20. Spectral Leech has already been chosen, and even Leoric makes the, Tychus makes the adjustments towards Cho'gall. Auriel is dead. Medivh follows. The sizzling attacks are just chipping away at the hit points of Cho'gall as we are seeing Nurok and the rest of the team just killing Zarmany. It's an easy fight on 20 and they get their kills in.
They get the kills, they kill off Oriole first, and they finish up with the rest of the targets. Only Cho'gall stands here for his team to defend against the onslaught that will be coming from Team Liquid. And they've brought everything. All 5 members here, and they're going straight for the core. Let's see if Cho'gall can do anything, but it's not looking like it.
Nah, this is just not happening. They don't even ignore him at this point. They finally say, all right, let's at least push him back here and then focus the core. But this is going to be the 1-1. Zealots, they tried something here on Tune the Spider Queen, but Team Liquid shuts them down at every single step of the way. 11 kills against 5 at the end. And this is it as Team Liquid ties the series.
1-1 for our 2 teams, and you're right, man. The early game just too heavy here for Cho'gall and crew to be able to handle, and we go into the series, get it all nice and tied up, and it's got to be a sigh of relief here for Team Liquid. Going down 0-1 against the Zealots was definitely something they did not expect on their docket today.
Yeah, I'm still... I don't know. I think if they maybe ban differently, that they have a better chance with it. Because as I said before, Cho'gall can be very strong on the map, and if you have a Cho'gall with the Oriole and Medivh, it's, as we've seen, pretty difficult to kill him. It's just simply you allowed your opponent to take every single hero that excels against Cho'gall. Every single one of them. The only other hero that I could have maybe seen is another giant killer hero, but that's already about it. So we have sizzling attacks on 20. It feels like every single tier that we see for Liquid provides them with at least one hero that gets a power spike against percentage damage. We have Spectral Leech, the sizzling attacks, we have the Executioner or the Alpha Killer. You can really take your pick there. So there's so many talents to be taken that pressures him that everything on the side of the Zealots have to focus on Cho'gall. And a lot of the fights went pretty well for Zealots, I feel, because Liquid made mistakes where they fought.
Sure.
But I think different bans might have been a little bit better. Do you really need to ban out Chromie with this draft?
I really think that they were expecting potentially for the Genji to get picked up, not the Greymane in that 3rd slot, when Genji would have a harder time than Greymane because of Curse and Bullet, and then they could have gone through the ban phase. But I think once that plan got changed and Greymane did come in for the mix-in, you needed a ban as a Cho'gall idea. You still have Ariel here, and you can go in the double support. It just seems like they were all in on this idea.
Yeah, they should have shifted away from it. I felt that also the ban against Stitches in hindsight was because they were worried about the Gorge.
Sure.
That seemed to be an issue, but then they allowed the Nuburak. So once that they saw, if you ban out the Greymane, then you can ban Greymane here. It's a good ban on the map anyways. So I don't think that Team Liquid would have jumped with a Greymane ban to the conclusion, oh my god, they're going to try Cho'gall. I just think that if you ban a little bit differently, or if you don't all in on the idea to go for Cho'gall, because they snap-picked everything, then you have a better chance there. With 1 or 2 of the heroes removed on Team Liquid side, I can definitely see Zealots win this. It just feels that the picks and bans they had, how they lined up against Team Liquid, I think they should have abandoned the Cho'gall idea. It felt very much that they tunnel vision on it.
Well, we're going to give credit to the Zealots as they get a nice Cho'gall play, but sadly they don't get the victory. We'll be right back with game number 3 as we're all tied up 1-1.